So you've made a puppet and now you want to make a puppet show. But the first thing I recommend doing is playing with your puppet and seeing what you can do with your puppet. You'll notice that I've changed my area where I'm working. I wanted to use a background that was just a plain wall because my studio is so full of stuff and puppets that visually it's too distracting. So think about where you want to play with your puppet and shoot your video. I recommend finding a big mirror or some kind of mirror that you could sit in front of, and as you play with your puppet, watch yourself and watch how the puppet moves in the mirror, and you'll have a real sense of what's happening. One thing to keep in mind, one important thing when you're doing this kind of puppet, is that you don't hold it like this. If I'm holding it like this, what do you see? The puppet or my hand?
Your hand.
Right. So you want to try and hold your puppet just with your fingertips. You see how I'm doing that? And that way, if I'm holding it with my fingertips on the sides, you see the puppet. And now play around with what your puppet can do. It can move its arms, wave. Can your puppet sit down? Like this. Maybe lift one leg. Just fool around with it. Have fun and figure out what your puppet can do. Maybe they can, maybe you can use their hand to make him laugh.
That's supposed to be.
Maybe he wants to cover his eyes. He doesn't want to see what's happening. I'm too scared. Can your puppet bend down and pick something up? Can your puppet bow? Your Highness. Can your puppet kneel?
Can your puppet do that?
Will you marry me? Can your puppet, what? Tiny, bend backwards? Can your puppet bend backwards? Can your puppet throw their hands in the air like they just don't care? Just fool around with it, experiment with them walking, going one way, going the other. Think about what you can do with your puppet and all the different kinds of movements that you can make. Right now I can see myself in the video, and as I said, I recommend you use a mirror so you can see how your puppet's moving and what looks good and what doesn't look good. Keep in mind you only have two hands. So what if your puppet wants to do something?Maybe he wants to say something, and you want to use one of your props. Yay! So I can hold my puppet with just one hand and use my other hand to do the prop. Maybe the puppet sees an animal. Hello, piggy. But what if he wants to pet the animal? I've got one hand holding the puppet and one hand holding the piggy. I've got nothing to control his hands with. But maybe if you have a friend nearby, Tiny can hold the pig, and now my puppet can bend down and pet the little piggy. Hi, little piggy, you're so cute. Mwah. And then maybe another piggy comes in, and maybe you have another friend. And so just keep in mind that depending on what you want to have happening in the show at one time, you might need a little help from your friends because you only have two hands, and you can hold your puppet sometimes with one hand, but sometimes you need both hands on your puppet.
Like the piggy is moving up.
Uh-huh. Now, what else do we have here? Suppose you want to have another character, and your puppet interacts with that character. I could just hold them myself, but they can't do much. So my friend reaches in to help. Oh, hello there. Let's shake hands.
So.
Oh, wait, we're not getting that right. Okay, I think we might need to practice this shaking hands thing. That didn't work out. Notice how you were holding that hand, right? My helper puppeteer was covering the body up a little bit with his hand, so we'll always keep that in mind. Another thing that's really important, think about these puppets. When I'm holding them flat like this, everyone can see the puppet, but if they're turning around, if I'm holding the puppet like this, what do you see? Nothing, right? because they're so skinny. So you always have to hold the puppet flat to the screen, and that's something that you're going to learn by watching yourself in the mirror. When you start to go like this, you lose the puppet. So what else do we want to do? Another thing that you might want to play with are some of your other props that you've made,
So
like your bunny.
When are we gonna get to that?
Let's try it, Tiny. Let's see what happens when the bunny turns around. Whoop! It's a duck. Whoop! And the same thing. Remember, you have to keep it flat, showing your audience. If you turn it to the side, it disappears. And if you hold it with your hand like this, the puppet disappears behind your hand. Do you want to try, Tiny?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a bunny. And now?
Whoop.
Oh, he's upside down. Oh, now he's a bunny again. Now turn him around. So as you can see, it takes some practice. Let's see. Let's try one last thing, Tiny. Let's have him use his
I don't see Ryan.
his movie camera.
I don't see Ryan.
I guess the other helper left. Do you want to help with the movie camera? So hold it like this so that we can see. You can look into the camera and see that he's, oh yes, I'm going to use my camera and make a movie. And he can hold it. There we go. Oh, look through the viewfinder. Okay. And what's the movie going to be about, Tiny? What's it going to be about? Show the audience the other side. Flamingos! Turn it all the way around so they can see. There you go. Okay, so basically, have fun with your puppet. Experiment with what you can make the puppet do and the other puppets and props that you might have. And if you need help, ask your friends for help. And if you don't have anyone to help, think of what you can do with only your two hands. Okay, see you next time. Say bye, Tiny.
Bye.